Welcome to the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Friday, January 26th. This is Gina McGuire. Over the last 30 days, we have seen precipitation across most areas of the Great Basin. However, much of this precipitation over the last month has been well below normal. The only exceptions are in parts of the central Idaho mountains and over southern Nevada, which has seen above normal precipitation. However, this was precipitation that occurred over 2 weeks ago. Prior to that, very dry conditions continued across southern areas of the Great Basin over the last few months. Looking at snowpack, over the last 72 hours, new snowfall has occurred in the Sierra and in the foothills of western Nevada, along with spotty areas of light snowfall over northern Nevada into northern Utah and southern Idaho, and some decent amounts in the central Idaho mountains and western Wyoming. Looking at the snow depth, the image on the right, again, the highest areas of snowpack are across Idaho and Wyoming, which has been the case really this entire winter so far. We also have more modest areas of snowpack over the Uintas down into the northern Wasatch, as well as areas of Nevada and into the Sierra. However, these areas of Nevada and Utah, the snowpack is well below normal, especially across the Sierra into Nevada. Looking at the satellite loop from this morning, you can see some cloud cover across northern two-thirds of the Great Basin. There also are a few showers this morning over parts of southern Idaho into Utah, but these showers, especially across Idaho, will be increasing as we move through the day. You can see very cold air over the northern Pacific. This area of low pressure will move eastward, but generally slide north as a ridge of high pressure dominates the Great Basin, at least for the most part, with much of that precipitation moving up into the northwest. Also, we will see temperatures gradually increasing as we move through the weekend as that ridge builds in. Now looking at the weather pattern for later this afternoon, as that system starts to approach, we will see some moisture increasing, especially across Idaho, and we will see areas of snowfall in the low and high elevations across Idaho, with a few inches possibly down in the low elevations and above 6 inches in the higher elevations. We also will see some windier conditions, and dispersion will be quite good across Idaho today, but poor to moderate over the rest of the Great Basin. Looking at the transport winds on the left, as that system moves in, you can see some breezy winds up across Idaho and Wyoming into far northeast Nevada, with much lighter winds further south. These winds up north will be gusting generally between about 25 and 35 miles per hour. Mixing heights will remain low to moderate over the southern areas of the Great Basin, a little bit better across Idaho and eastern Utah. As we move into Saturday, the ridge of high pressure starts to build off the west coast. We still have some moisture lingering across Idaho and Wyoming predominantly, and into northern Utah, so we will at least see some cloud cover and some light showers continuing. Ventilation index will continue to deteriorate over all areas of the Great Basin with poor dispersion on Saturday. Transport winds will still remain a little breezy over northern and eastern areas, along with mixing heights in the moderate area. However, again, still poor dispersion is expected with the amount of cold air and moisture still lingering. Further south, low mixing heights and also weak wind flow is expected. By Sunday, that ridge of high pressure starts to move east across the Great Basin with warmer and drier conditions, especially across Nevada, Utah, and the Arizona Strip, with temperatures increasing to 5 to 10 degrees or more above normal. We'll still hang on to some residual cloud cover up across Idaho and Wyoming on Sunday, but temperatures will be on the rise. Dispersion will be poor in most areas, with the exception of the far south, where we could see some breezy north winds around that area of high pressure, which may increase dispersion over parts of the Arizona Strip and southern Nevada. Looking at the transport winds, you can see those gusty north winds in the far south on Sunday, again increasing that dispersion. The rest of the area will see generally lighter wind flow as that ridge builds in. Western Wyoming still could see some breezy winds for one more day on Sunday. Looking at mixing heights, we'll generally see low to moderate mixing heights across the region. Looking at the forecast clearing index for Utah, we will have fairly high clearing indices over the eastern half of Utah today, with lower conditions in the west, and then as that ridge builds in through the weekend, we will see winds decrease and also clearing indices really start to drop off in most areas, with the exception of some of the high elevations, which still may see some breezy north winds on Sunday on the eastern side of that high pressure. Looking at the overall forecast amount of precipitation for the next 3 days, you can see again most of the precipitation is targeted once again across Idaho and Wyoming, with areas in the higher elevations of Idaho and Wyoming seeing over 1 to 1.5 inches of new precipitation, translating to over a foot of new snowfall, with lighter amounts further south. As we move into next week, we still have a ridge of high pressure dominating the Great Basin, but starting to flatten a little bit as that stronger area of low pressure off the coast approaches. Temperatures will still remain well above normal with dry conditions region-wide. Also, dispersion will remain quite poor across the area. However, by Tuesday, that ridge breaks down a little bit as that system starts to move across northern areas, so we will see some cooler temperatures in the north on Tuesday and even further south, and also some cloud cover that will likely move across most areas of the Great Basin Monday night into Tuesday morning. Dispersion will remain a little bit better over parts of Nevada and Utah and up into Idaho on Tuesday. As we move into Wednesday, that system starts to slide off to the east with some cloud cover and occasional showers in the north on Tuesday and Wednesday, and drier conditions and warming conditions starting again by midweek over southern and western areas. Dispersion will remain much better on Wednesday over Idaho and much of Utah and southern Nevada into the Arizona Strip as we have stronger northwest winds as that system moves through, with poor dispersion over western areas where wind flow will remain much weaker. On Thursday, that stronger ridge of high pressure starts to build along the west coast, and this will again bring drier and warmer conditions region-wide. We still have some breezy north winds, which may keep dispersion somewhat elevated on the higher side over parts of the eastern half of Nevada and into parts of Nevada and Utah. Looking at the overall forecast amount of precipitation from Monday through Wednesday morning, and again some lighter amounts of precipitation expected with this next system as it moves across Idaho and Wyoming, possibly into parts of northern Utah and northeast Nevada. Looking at the 8 to 14 day outlook, which takes us into the early part of February, above normal temperatures in the south and west with near normal temperatures in the north, and generally dry conditions over the southern and western half of the area with mainly storms targeting Idaho, Wyoming, into northern Utah. That concludes our briefing for today. If you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, check back on Monday for the latest updates.